again, my name is Sam, and just want to share a few things with y'all. The song we did just a second ago, it said, "No matter what comes my way, I will rejoice." So I want to share some things that have come my way and why I now rejoice. Growing up, my mom took us to church. She worked a lot, but she did make sure, my sister and I went to church Sunday morning. And God forgive me, I'm a little nervous. I knew the Bible stories, but just the Bible stories didn't prepare me for what come next. At age 15, I found out who my biological father was, and that he had passed away in a car accident before I was born. And at the same time, my mother and I discussed me being molested at a young age, and it was the first time it was ever discussed. I became depressed after that, and I shut myself off from my family, and I became very angry, and I turned to my friends and to drinking and to partying and pills to cope with what I was feeling. I left home before graduating high school. I thought I had it all figured out, and I got married at 21, and less than a year later we were divorced. I was unsure how to make it work, how to make my marriage work, and I felt like a failure. I felt like no one would love me after being divorced. Here I am, young, divorced. I quit college, and I never finished anything. Then here comes what I thought was the calm after the storm, Prince Charming riding in on his bank account, and I thought that would make things better, but that made a bad situation worse. Here I thought, as someone who truly loves me, and I tried really hard after my failed marriage to try to make it work, and nothing I ever did, it just didn't work. He introduced me to crystal meth and physical abuse about the same time. I stayed away from my family, and I did everything to make him happy, and lost who I was. I had no identity. I became hopeless. But after about 2 years, I decided enough was enough, and I wanted better. So I decided to leave. The physical abuse was gone, the mental abuse and the emotional abuse was gone, but I was still left with substance abuse. And I struggled. I turned to IV addiction, and I struggled with that. I wanted to get help, and I turned to my family, but I ended up burning the bridges with that. I'd run and try to get help from them and just run right back to the drugs, and nothing ever really worked. I sought help through mental health facilities. I thought the pills would help fix me. What I thought was a head or mind issue, it wasn't. Little did I know, I'd learn the truth later. I finally found a support group. I tried a group called Celebrate Recovery, and what I found was a church family who saw hope and not just an addiction. I couldn't see past the moment I was in, but they saw a testimony, and I was sober for a little while, and I relapsed, and my church helped me come to Teen Challenge. And when I got to Teen Challenge, I was angry. I thought, here again, I failed, and I tried to make everything work, and I wasn't good enough. I didn't make anything work. A week before I come to Teen Challenge, my little sister was to get married. No, I came a week before her wedding, that's what it was. And, here's the big sister, I'm supposed to stand beside her on her wedding day, and I was crushed. And so I wrote her a letter to let her know that I was coming. I was ashamed and I was guilty. I didn't want to tell her where I was going and that I wouldn't be there with her. So I wrote her a letter. And since then, she has forgiven me for not being there with her, and she's going through some health issues. And where I was ashamed and guilty before, I get to pray with her on the phone and minister to her, while I'm here. I did not have a relationship with my mom. I always was angry, and we were always fighting and things like that, and now God's restoring that relationship as well. I'm learning to forgive those who have hurt me and to forgive myself. I knew God growing up. I knew who he was, but it's the relationship that's transformed me. It's awesome to know I have a future and a purpose, that I need to only be still and wait on the Lord. The cool thing is he's already figured it out. I just have to walk it out. And no matter what I face, he's right beside me, and that's why I stand on Isaiah 43:1-2. Fear not, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name, you are mine. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. And through the rivers, they shall not overwhelm you. When you walk through the fire, you shall not be burned, and the flame shall not consume you.